Hey guys, it's Joey. So I really love today's episode. At the beginning felt a little bit more like classic Twin Peaks to me. I'm not totally sure why. I think it has something to do with Sarah Palmer freaking out and Hawk going to visit her. I think, I don't know, in my brain it was like, oh, this feels familiar. So I guess Sarah Palmer's screaming and hysterics were, now that I'm thinking about it, were really an integral part of the tone of at least the first season of Twin Peaks. She was screaming and, going nuts a lot in terror. I thought that scene with her in the supermarket / the convenience store was super interesting, because while she's going on her sort of hysterical kind of warning to the two people behind the counter, in the background you sort of hear that very familiar sort of screeching sound. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's sort of like a backwards, like that thing. Now, many of you will recognize, or I'm sure did recognize, that sound from Fire Walk With Me. It's the sound that sort of comes when Philip Jeffries is back at the headquarters, and then he starts talking about the convenience store, and it sort of, white noises transitions into that scene above the convenience store. And I in my brain, I relate that sound a lot to the Jumping Man, that weird, whatever that sound is, that reverse violin kind of distorted sound. And so it's very interesting that they brought that back. And she seems to be warning them. For her, the convenience store, which I'm assuming she's been to a lot, looks unfamiliar. Of course, it's because the jerky, rack is behind them, and that's new. But I think she's sort of, at least I think maybe she's sort of seeing it as the other thing, the evil, the dark convenience store where they live. So I'm thinking Sarah has seen the convenience store in its other form, in its, crazy form. Maybe she saw it when she was younger. If that is the Sarah Palmer, if Sarah Palmer is the one we saw when she was younger in New Mexico, maybe she has some sort of, connection with the convenience store, and maybe she knows something about the convenience store, what happens there. This is a little far-flung theory, but I feel like she has seen it or has some connection to what goes on in the convenience store. The other weird thing that happened was when Hawk went to go check on her, there was a weird noise coming from, the house, somewhere behind her in the Laura Palmer house. So what the hell is that? She says it's something in the kitchen. I can't believe her. Hawk doesn't believe her for a second. Seems like she's up to something, or something is maybe possessing her. Or in one of the streams I did, we talked about incantations and magic, and people just sort of manipulating people with magic. So maybe something's happening there. It seemed like she was almost overtaken by something in the convenience store when she was ranting about something coming. And I think they're coming, or men are coming, or I don't remember what they said, but she was not having it, and she knew she was freaking out, which is why she promptly left the store. So I'm really curious to see what that turns into. Especially, I feel like if Laura Palmer comes back, it's going to be, earth-shattering. I feel like the last episode is going to be like they originally described the series, pure heroin. It's going to be so fast. So much is going to happen. We're going to have to rewatch it so many times, because I feel like everything is just going to smush into that last hour and sort of resolve. Some things are going to resolve, some things aren't. Really weird. Okay, so the big part of the episode, I'm sure for many of us, was that scene with Audrey. First scene we get with her, she still seems very fiery, very feisty. I don't see as much of that girlish charm, but she is older, and it seems like she's been through a lot of shit. She's married to this guy who is a little strange. They definitely don't seem right. She just seems angry with him. She doesn't really like his company. She doesn't like what he's about. She's sleeping with Billy. I don't know who Billy is. I'm not sure. If you guys remember who Billy is, please leave me a comment, because I'm a little lost. There was a lot of names in this episode, and I'm trying to keep track. So Audrey is married to this guy who she doesn't seem to really like. I wonder if it was some sort of... It seems like they made a deal some sort of contract to be married for whatever reason. Maybe she needed help. Maybe her dad cut her off or something. Speaking of dad, Ben Horne. Ben Horne is such a very full character. He had his very terrible. I love Ben Horne. I really do. I like Ben Horne as a character. I did in the original series, even when he was doing his evil, dubious, like unreputable things. I still enjoyed his character for some reason because it seemed like he was struggling, always struggling with something, and I got that in him. And I knew he didn't want to do these things, but he just didn't know any other way to work with whatever is going on in his brain and in his heart. And I think later when Audrey, especially in the original series, when Audrey shows interest in like being closer to her father and all this stuff, that he begins to, that really did set him on the road to write. And we saw that in the original series. There was things that he did that he wanted that were, in all intents and purposes, good. And it seems like it's effortless for him now. He just, yes, we're going to pay for this. My grandson he didn't have a father, but we're going to pay for all her treatments. She deserves it. She didn't ask for this. She was trying to be a good citizen and help, report this terrible act. She saw who did it. She told somebody, and look what she got. Ben says he grew up without a father, referring to Richard. Again, I think Evil Cooper, Doppel Cooper, Mr. C, is his father. I really do. I think he did unspeakable things to Audrey very early on when she was, in intensive care. And it gives me like the chills, and it kind of grosses me out a little bit. But he's that evil, and he would do something like that. He would, satiate Cooper's like darkest want. It's not even need. Like he said, he doesn't need anything. He wants. So he must have done something in that, created the terrible human Richard Horne. And then Ben sort of talks about his father, and fondly about this bike he gave him. I believe it was a motorcycle, it sounded like. And he was just... I was getting a little teary-eyed as he was talking about the bike, and then they showed Beverly, and she was also getting teary-eyed, and it was a really bizarre moment for me, and bizarre moment to watch somebody else like sort of see that in the show and also sort of be moved by it. And this is another. Ben Horne has always sort of been this dynamic going back to the original series, and I really do love Ben Horne. I'm not just saying that for the. I think he's a very very well-rounded character, and I'm always curious to see what he has to say and what he's going to do next. So I think he is one of my top favorite characters in Twin Peaks. So another big thing that happened, Tammy is now on the Blue Rose case, so I'm guessing she is going to be putting together this dossier very soon. This might be her first foray into Blue Rose, being part of the Project Blue Book, Blue Rose, team that Albert and Gordon seem to be a part of, and Cooper was a part of, and Jeffries and Chester Desmond. It's when they say Jeffries and Desmond, I always get like sort of chills. Chester Desmond and Jeffries, because I feel like we're gonna hear something more about them, or maybe see them, or maybe figure something out about what happened to them. But it seems like they've been gone this whole time. They have no idea where they are. They're gone, and I wonder who's going to show up, if anybody, if they're going to learn anything, if they're going to show up. And I wonder if we're going to see that in the series, or if that's going to be something left for the hardcore fans to read about in the final dossier, because we know Tammy Preston, spoilers for those that haven't read The Secret History of Twin Peaks, but Tammy Preston is the one that put together the dossier that you could see behind me. And I think she's going to be putting the one together that's going to take place after the show, where they figure out a lot more. Because I think, like they said, they've been keeping an eye on Tammy since, I believe, high school. She's just been extraordinary in everything she does, and I think maybe she's the one that's going to figure things out ultimately. Like, reading The Secret History of Twin Peaks, that Tammy is a super intelligent agent, very skilled, very apt, very keen on things that are happening, and she connects the dots in a very good way. And she's also a good, you know, she does her research and she goes out and I guess does the field work too. So I'm really excited to see Tammy in action and figure out what she's going to bring to the table for the Blue Rose team. And that scene with the French girl and Gordon Cole was a little weird, but I guess it shows that Gordon Cole still has a little bit of a kick in him, as we know. So does David Lynch. I think maybe it was a call that he still got it. It seemed like he sort of, you know, was conversing about this girl's missing sister, which seemed to be a joke that I didn't quite get. It went right over my head. It seems to go over Albert's head, at least in the show. So if you understood what he meant by that like sister missing joke, please let me know. I don't know if that was a Laura Palmer thing, Teresa Banks. I really don't know what that was. But if you got that, please comment and let me know what that was about. And also, one of the other things with Ben and Truman that really got me was the key. Truman has the key, and he's going to give it to Harry. And it's just, again, Ben's scenes were my favorite scenes in this episode. I love Benjamin Horne. I love young and I love old. Old Benjamin Horne seems to always just know what to do and sort of do the right thing, at least in my opinion, do the right thing. And he gave it to, you know, Harry's brother to give to Harry, sick Harry. I don't think they ever said what he's sick with. I want to think cancer. He said beat this thing. And this led me to believe, since I had a conversation recently about how people that come into contact with the doppelgangers get sick. They fall ill. And I think Harry must have spent a little bit of extra time with Evil Cooper. He was probably the first one. He was one of the first people to help him out when Evil Cooper came out. I mean, I believe Andy was there. I don't recall exactly, but I know Harry definitely was, and he helped him out. And I'm sure they spent some time after, you know, they brought Cooper back, and Cooper was recuperating before, you know, he fled. And I wonder if Harry is sick due to exposure to the doppelganger. Let me know what you guys think about that theory, because I'm starting to think, I mean, I know Margaret's sick and I know Harry's sick. There's two very sick people in the show. And we saw the little girl in the car last episode was sick. There's a lot of illness happening, and illness is always a sad thing, and it's reckless, and it happens to the people that don't deserve it the least. And I'm really curious to know if Harry is sick because of exposure to the doppelganger. So that's it, guys, for this video. It's already really long. I'm going to try to cut this as short as possible, but I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was very, very well put together. There was a lot there, and it was very strong. It was a very strong episode or part, and I definitely feel moved still thinking about everything that happened tonight. So thank you guys for watching again. These have been awesome. We're 6 episodes out, 6 parts out, 6 hours out from the end. I'm going to miss this show dearly. I'm still going to do videos for a while, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. We're going to do one big one after I see all 18 hours and like at least try to do it in one sitting, but who knows. So thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Come back every week. I'm going to be doing Rick and Morty videos for this season. See how that goes. I love Rick and Morty, so if you like Rick and Morty too, tune in to the channel, and I shall see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.